I think it's outrageous that the LA city attorney is prosecuting students and others for protesting at a speech by Secretary Mnuchin. A college campus is supposed to be a place for robust, wide-open debate and discussion. Mnuchin engaged with the audience. He talked to the audience. And at one point, three protesters stood up. They spent a total of only about 2.5 minutes to communicate their message, to speak out, to protest the Trump-Pence regime. And I think they were entirely proper in what they were doing. And instead of being prosecuted, I think they should be thanked by the American people for bringing attention to what is going on in this country. When students and faculty and others gather for a speech of that kind, it's not a one-way street. The speaker doesn't get to control everything. There are going to be questions and answers, and these students chose their time to speak up. The law is clear, both under the First Amendment and California law, that you have a right to communicate, that communication is not disruption. We know what real disruption is, and that didn't happen in this case. And I'm appalled that the city attorney of Los Angeles, Mike Feuer, would go forward with a full prosecution, with a trial. Think of the trauma and the stress of young people being charged with crimes, facing jail and financial penalties, and that these cases are rolling forward in the criminal court system in Los Angeles. It's a waste of resources, but more than that, it's an offense to free speech, to the right of protest, and to the duty of citizens when confronted with the kind of government we're living under right now to speak up. We're always happy to say speak truth to power, but when courageous and brave protesters do that, here the law is coming down on their necks. I think these prosecutions should be dismissed, and I think these protesters should be thanked for drawing attention to the outrages of the Trump-Pence regime. In addition to all the other outrages in the UCLA case, there were other protesters outside the meeting room who were ordered off the campus. They were given a 7-day ban from entering the campus. Now, that's in the law a prior restraint. Everyone should be able to freely enter a college campus, a state campus like UCLA, for any purpose whatsoever. Here they were banned for 7 days, and during that period they returned to both join in the nationwide silent protests for the 11 million undocumented people in the United States, and on another occasion to see and listen and support Chelsea Manning. Because they had originally been banned, then they were charged with violating the ban when they returned for those peaceful purposes. That's an outrage all by itself. From the earliest years of British law carried into American law and the First Amendment, prior restraints are one of the greatest offenses to free speech. You shouldn't have governments that are banning you from speaking in the future, because what happened in this case were peaceful protests in the future, fully protected by the First Amendment. And the law is very clear that that is protected by the First Amendment. They shouldn't have been banned in the first place, and those bans shouldn't even be enforced when, in fact, they are exercising their First Amendment rights. That's clear under California law and under the Constitution. All of those prosecutions are mean-spirited. They're an effort to suppress free speech, and they should be dismissed immediately.